Shalom, Kal Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Waha, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the hopeful elect elders and apostles of the Israelite nation who rule well, namely the hopeful elect elders and apostles over at the Great Millstone Church. Shalom to you all. Peace and many blessings be to the hopeful elect men of the Israelite nation, promoting the truth, hitting the highways and hedges, and diligently abounding in the knowledge and wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Namely to the brothers that I personally labor with over here in my congregation. Shalom to you, brothers, and peace and many blessings be as well to the rest of the 1/3 of the Israelite nation. All you true believers out there, shalom to you all. So for this lesson, we're going to start here in Lamentation, the 4th chapter and the 21st verse. And it reads, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom." And we're going to pause there. And we're going to go into who this daughter of Edom is, which is ultimately, simply put, the nation of Edom, who comes from the man whose name is Esau. All right. Today, we know the Edomites to be the so-called white man. All right. The so-called white people who are upon the face of the earth right now. That's not their true identity. This is their true identity according to the Bible. And it's telling them here in the scripture to rejoice and be glad. And simply put, they are to be rejoicing and be glad because they are currently governing the earth. They are in the stead of rulership right now. So they are to rejoice and be glad because of so. And according to the scriptures, we're going to prove to you that Edom is the so-called white man, and that they are rejoicing and being glad because they are currently governing the earth. We're going to come here to Job chapter 9 and verse 24, which tells you that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So that's it. That's the point. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked by simple analyzation of who's currently governing the earth, who has the earth in their hand. It's simple to say and to see that it's the so-called white man, whose true identity is Edom. So now we understand that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, and we understand that the so-called white man's true identity is Edom. So we have to draw these 2 points together. All right, so we're going to come here to Malachi, the book of Malachi, in the 1st chapter, in the 4th verse. And it reads, "Whereas Edom saith." All right, so again, Edom is the subject matter here, as it is in the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and 21, which reads, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom." Malachi chapter 1 and 4 reads, "Whereas Edom saith." All right, this is the words of Edom. It says, "We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places," because it's the mindset of the so-called white man. All right, they're looking to rebuild constantly. This is how they work throughout history. But continuing in this lesson, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts, they shall build." So they're going to build, but I will throw down. "And they shall call them," and this is the point here, "the border of wickedness." So the nation of Edom is known or being identified by the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, as the border of wickedness. And as we read in Job chapter 9 and verse 24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So therefore, we know the earth was given into the hand of the Edomites, the Edomite nation, Edomite race, who we know to be the so-called white man, through simple observation. It says, "And the people," again denoting that this Edom would be a people. It's a nation, the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever. So the Lord hates these people. And that's what the scriptures is telling us. So let's hop back to Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 21. And it reads, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom." They're being told to rejoice and be glad because they are currently ruling the earth. Therefore, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Continuing, it says, "That dwellest in the land of Uz." It reads, the cup, which we'll go back and talk about what this cup is, "also shall pass through unto thee," because inside a cup is a drink. So it's something that has to be drunk. And it says, thou shalt be drunken. So in this cup, they're going to become drunken off this cup. And being drunk, ultimately leads to one being off of their square, if you will, and shall make thyself naked. And being naked is to be what? Revealed, which is important to note and understand for this lesson. So we're going to continue reading in verse 22. It says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So now it's talking to the daughter of Zion, being the Israelite nation. The Israelite nation being the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native American and Seminole Indian people who are scattered amongst the earth. And ultimately, the true believers of the so-called black people, those who have repented, forsook the world, and have come back to the true doctrine of this Bible. All right? It says, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. So off top, you can say he, because we know that the so-called white man carried us into captivity. But ultimately, the Lord is not going to carry us into captivity anymore, because we know it's the Lord who does all these things ultimately. It says he, again talking about Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom. And iniquity is going into the word iniquity going into wickedness. All right. It says he will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom, the so-called white man. The Lord is going to visit your iniquity. He will discover thy sins. Discovery, again, going into them being made naked, them being revealed. You see thy sins. So we're going to come here and further reveal the so-called white man. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means. And what we must understand throughout the scriptures, the book that is the Bible, the messages of the Bible, is to the Israelites. That's who the Bible is speaking to. So you Israelites, you so-called black people, and ultimately, again, the true believers of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, let no man deceive you by any means. All right, because you aren't to be deceived. You have the word, which is likened it to light. It's a revealing agent. Us understanding these words of the Bible, it says, for that day shall not come. All right, and the day that's being spoken of here is the redemption of Israel. Thus being us being put back in our correct estate, being a nation above all people on the face of the earth. Because that's who you so-called black people are, God's chosen people, who are to be in the stead of rulership and governing the earth, not the so-called white man. And therefore, that's why they ought to be rejoicing and being glad right now, because that's not going to be forever lived for them. Just to, give it to you straight, if you will. It says, except they're coming falling away first. So the Israelites ultimately will not be redeemed unless they fell away first. So we had to fall away from knowing who we were. We had to go into slavery by cargo slave ships, all according to the scriptures. We had to be sold to our enemies. We had to be broken down, so on and so forth. Our nationality, our names being taken away from us. All these things had to happen. That's all part of that falling away. And also, when we going back to Lamentations 4:22, it says, the punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished. Our punishment was us going into slavery and falling away from the Lord because we kept not his laws as a nation. It's talking about us Israelites, you so-called black people. That's our punishment. Us going into slavery was a punishment of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, the Most High. He did that to us. But it says, O daughter of Zion, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. So again, that falling away had already happened. All right. Again, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So that man of sin also has to be revealed, the son of perdition. Well, when we read Lamentations 4:22, it's telling us, the Israelites, the punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. All right. It says he will visit thy iniquity, O daughter of Edom. This is spoken to the Edomites, the so-called white people, the so-called white man. It says he will discover thy sins. So therefore, Edom is that man of sin. All right, because it says the Lord will discover thy sins. Let's hop back. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So it's pretty much clear cut. We know that the so-called white man is the nation of Edom. The Lord says he's going to discover their sins. He's going to reveal them. But let's read Lamentations 4 and 21 again. We're going to prove the point about the cup and we'll close out. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. All right, so now we should have a clear idea of what this cup is consisting of. It says, thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. Again, naked going into that reveal. But let's talk about this cup. Revelation chapter 18. And we'll just get straight to the point. We'll start in verse 4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, come out of her. That her is a representation of America. America being the stumping grounds of the so-called white man, being a nation that was set up by the so-called white man to allow him to do whatever his will is. Bring the Israelites over here and make them slaves. Make sure they don't know who they are. All right. And all of the Israelites would be here, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Therefore, the Israelites, again, being here, are warned to come out of her, come out of America. All right. Because this place is your destruction. Therefore, it says, my people, who are the Lord's people, the Israelites. It says that ye be not partakers of her sins. All right. Remember that man of sin that we were revealing is this so-called white man who is Edom. All right. So her, again, being this landmass called America. All right. Her sins. You don't want to be part of her sins. So come up out of her. All right. And again, America simply being the stumping grounds of the so-called white man, meaning this is a place that was set up by the so-called white man. So that's dealing with the word her. All right. It's a representation of the philosophies and the ways of the so-called white man that is played out in a land called America. All right. That is here on the earth. And it says, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And that's why you're being warned, you Israelites are being warned to come out of her because she has plagues on the way. All right. And therefore, another reason why she ought to be rejoicing and being glad right now, why she has rulership, because these plagues are to come and destroy her. But let's make the point here in verse 5 of Revelation chapter 18. It says, for her sins, the sins of America. And again, America was set up by the so-called white man. He's the ruler, the governor of it. Remember, the earth is in his hands. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked, according to Job chapter 9 and 24. For her sins have reached unto heaven. That's how much wickedness has been done here in this land called America by the so-called white man. And we know this being Israelites. We are the direct, link to most of the atrocities that the so-called white man has done here. We came into slavery. The northern kingdom was here already, and they were massacred, a mass genocide. We have too many directions I can go as of wickedness that was done to the Israelites here in America, but let's move forward in the lesson. It says, for her sins have reached into heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Remember, the Lord said he's going to search out the iniquities of Edom. Verse 6 is the point. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. That's that cup. What she has done to you so-called black people who are in fact the true Israelites, that's what has to happen to her. That's why the scriptures tell you, he who leads into captivity must go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints, again, the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup, here's that cup. In the cup which she had filled to her double. So she filled the Israelites, you so-called black people, a cup of oppression, depression, despair, taking your children away, beating your heritage out of you, so on and so forth. That simply has to happen to her. And that's what that cup is. that's being talked about here in Lamentations 4 and 21. And therefore rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, right now, because this cup is on its way, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee, thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked. All right? And this is pretty much the downfall of the so-called white man and his rulership. They're going to be made naked. They're going to be revealed exactly who they are, and the whole world is going to know this. All right? So that's it. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, because your time is coming to an end. Your time of rulership is pretty much ultimately over. We can see the end of it, and you're going to be revealed on high. So we're going to close out here, Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. And this reads, therefore rejoice ye heavens. All right, you should really be rejoicing, you true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, the Israelites. And you the heavens, because your mind have been translated in the spirit into the heavens, through meditating on the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai and diligently, trying to upkeep this doctrine, and to the very end, you enduring. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. We just read in the book of Revelation, chapter 18, that we are to come out of her, come out of this place, America, which has been fed to the whole world. We are to come out of the mindset of the so-called white man. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, who is the so-called white man, which is another name for Esau or Edom, simply put, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath. Why? Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And that's it. He is to be rejoicing and be glad right now, because he knows that he has a short time, and his cup is going to come, and he's going to have to drink it. And those so-called white people are going into slavery. And that's all according to the scriptures. So just say, Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom.